I was going to start this off with something tasteless like going suey, piggy, 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 because it's about swine flu. Swine flu has hit Korea. The flu itself hasn't hit Korea big. The fear of it has hit Korea big. They're already quarantining people. 30 plus Yanks and like 71 or more foreigners altogether are being quarantined in a place just outside of Seoul. I guess someone who had flu symptoms was at their training seminar, their week-long training seminar they were at last week. Interesting thing is the Koreans that they trained with aren't being quarantined with them. Some of them are being given self-quarantine, which means you stay home for 7 days. I'll put up a link to the blog of a guy, let's see, an English teacher under quarantine in South Korea, underquarantine.tumblr.com. Pretty good read. Read about the U.S. Embassy response or failure for a response when they were called on the weekend. Pretty funny. Unless you're one of the ones quarantined who wanted to call the embassy. So I don't know. I hesitate to criticize the methods they're using to try to stop the spread of this, because it is a legitimate fear. As much as you want to make light of it, as much as I might want to make light of it, it is a legitimate fear. But, you know, telling foreigners that, oh, you should avoid this area, this area, this area, because that's where foreigners congregate. But they're not warning Koreans not to congregate. Right now, there's two types of big groups getting together. One is rallies against Im Young-bak. One is rallies mourning for ex-President Roh, who committed suicide on the weekend. They're not telling Koreans, as far as I know, I stand to be corrected, or I sit to be corrected, but I'm not hearing that Koreans are being told, don't go out in groups, you know, try to avoid contact, except for staying away from foreigners. So that kind of bothers me, but what can you do? A friend of mine works for EPIC, English something in Korea, teaching English in the schools in Korea, and they were informed that any teacher, new or old, coming to Korea now will be given a 7-day quarantine, whether it's in a facility or self-quarantine at home. It didn't say. But they will be quarantined before they're allowed to come to work. One of the largest hagwons in Korea, they have like over 100 schools just around Seoul. They've closed for 7 days. And all of their teachers are, well, some of them are already in quarantine. They're supposed to be in self-quarantine. Self-quarantine means you go home and you stay home. But you're allowed to go out and get food and medicine and water and stuff. But you should wear a face mask when you do that. But there's really no control forcing you to stay home. So, like I said, I don't know how effective a measure that is. But they're trying. Got to give them that credit for trying. Don't know how this is going to affect me. I'm going home in a week and a bit. For a month. Hopefully it's over by then. If not, I may come back and find myself in quarantine. 7 days paid vacation. I really don't want to be. Quarantine me on a beach somewhere, okay. But not too worried about the flu yet. Hopefully the measures they're taking will help prevent any outbreak. But that's what's going on now. I highly recommend checking that blog out. He does raise a lot of good points that I'm not going to get into. I'm not going to repeat them. Read them there. Anyways, hope you stay flu-free. Take care. Cheers.